Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is time to meet someone new. Today we have Elizabeth Russell with us, who Elizabeth is an astrologer. Now, how long have you been an astrologer?
That's a hard question. Um,
Wow, well, that's an easy question for now.
uh,
No. Okay, tell us.
I mean, I'm a second gen, so my mom was an astrologer, and so I kind of just it was like a mother tongue, literally for me for a long time. I haven't really been see, hard question. Let's see. I guess my whole life. And also, I haven't really named it. I haven't been a practicing astrologer. Maybe since, well, that's not even true either. See, probably my whole life.
Well, and that's not true for everyone because, like, my daughter is super not into astrology. So it's like I think some daughters of astrologers are have been an astrologer their whole life, and then other ones kind of like drop it and then pick it up later in life or whatever. So when you were a kid, were you actually into astrology, or were you kind of like, ugh?
So I think that, yeah, I had a really different situation. Probably I didn't grow up with my mom. I grew up around my mom. And so I think this is a big difference for kids of parents who do weird shit. It's like they don't want to have anything to do with it, because they want to rebel. Whereas I was like moth to a flame. So my mom was a witch and read tarot, and she would come around and give me, she gave me my chart readings every year for my solar return. And she'd come and read my cards and, like that kind of stuff. And so I was like, oh, more, please. But I would say I probably got more focused in my own independent journey. I mean, I dedicated as a witch in my early 20s and started that path in earnest then. And then it wasn't until probably in my later 20s that I started picking up astrology, which was sort of secondary for me because I was more focused on my witch's path and on my tarot and like other intuitive and dream working and that kind of thing. But then all of my friends, it was just like I was living inside of a astrology bubble in Portland. You couldn't get away from it, couldn't swing a cat without hitting 500 astrologers. And so that was how it was. I mean, all my friends. And so I definitely just kind of got re-immersed. Yeah. So then it was just by accident that I got way more focused on it, probably into my 30s.
I have a question. Wait, do witches swing cats?
Oh, if you know, you know, I guess.
All right, good to know.
Depends on the spell, what the spell calls for. Sometimes they toss cats, whatever. Sometimes no. They're nice to cats, I would imagine. So well, we do have to know your sun, moon, and rising.
Yeah, so I am a Virgo sun with a Taurus rising and then moon in Sag, conjunct Mars. So there's
Wow.
yeah, that moon Mars Sag.
I'm slightly afraid of you and also excited because maybe you'll be wild on the show. Yeah, Virgos are not super wild though. I mean, you'll be wildly well behaved.
Well, with the Pluto, I have Pluto conjunct my sun. And, my mom always called it a besieged sun. And then a friend said, because I have Uranus on the other side. And then a wonderful astrology friend said, or you have really powerful escorts, which I loved the reframe. And so, yeah, that's where the Virgo gets a little bit of
Wow.
heavyweight on either side.
Wow, you are really largely Virgo and very Sagittarius. That is so cool. Like I love when somebody's like pronounced in two different signs and they're squares. So it's like they're very different, densities of matter. It's like, and you do look very Virgoic to me, just at least how you're presenting right now, because you dressed up for the video and you look kind of office a little bit, but like, yeah, but I bet that Sag moon and Mars is kind of youthful and wild. So that's cool.
Right. So I changed 4 times today.
Oh, oh my
I mean,
God.
not, like over the course of the day. So
Oh
it's,
my God, do you do quick changes? Like, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, all right. So, do you have any other basic questions for Elizabeth JZ? I know you like to ask the deeper basics.
Um, no, let's just I want to know how your moon Mars is feeling right now.
I've been really interested in that moon Mars lately and this year decided it was stealing the mic way too often, and it was wearing me out. So I've been kind of thinking a lot more about the polarity and leaning into Gemini and just kind of trying to kind of tease up a little bit of, you know, easy curiosity instead of that intense, heavy, like, let's do this thing, you know. So it's feeling, I think, a little bit more chill. But man, it's like being kind of dragged around the village by a team of horses a lot of
Is
the time.
Mars in Virgo going over your Sun, Pluto, Uranus right now?
Yeah, maybe. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so she is getting a little bit more office. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about what you do in astrology because you are not only just an astrologer, but you have a business and at NORWAC the last few years you've been tabling. So I know that you're serious about your business. So let's talk about it's called Dream Fruit, right?
Yeah. And
So
so
what
dream fruit, and it came from, again, with polarities, like, well, it's actually, I got it from my nodes because I have a Virgo South node and Pisces North node. So the dream and the fruit was sort of my kind of balancing effort. Um, yeah, it's been, so what it is, I think of it as a world. Dream fruit is sort of this world where we can tap the imagination in a productive way and get really pragmatic, but also allow the imagination to be a really practical tool. So it's storytelling. So I've been telling this story of now, year by year, moon by moon. I think we're in our 6th year. Yeah, of the story. And so I work with the new moons or the lunations really each year. And gosh, at first I thought when I was starting to write it, it might have been 2019. And I just thought, okay, I want to be kind of enlivening people's imagination around the astrology without kind of bludgeoning them with astrology. Because for some people, it can be really overwhelming. And in fact, I think I'm one of those people where I, just feel like this barrage of data and I want to just get below it all and kind of get the story and the vibe of it. And so that's what I started doing. But right away, I had this thing happen with the Sabian symbols. And I don't know if we talked about it at NORWAC, but I was sitting, so I was looking at the astrology for 2020, because in 2019, all the time traveling that happens. And I was like, okay, what's the overall thing? What's the through line? What's happening? And I'm sitting outside and I'm kind of leafing through my astrological mandala, Dane Rudger Sabian symbol book. And I went moon by moon reading the Sabian symbols for each of the lunations of the year. And I mean, it was like, I don't know. I mean, it was a moment. I'll just say it that way. And I could just see this story, the through line, this kind of one to next, string of pearls. And so I kind of got pulled right into telling the story through that lens, through the Sabian symbols. So,
So
yeah.
a few things there. First of all, Jay-Z, I want to know, do you know what the Sabian symbols are?
I do now because I learned them through, Moira Press videos
Uh,
and talking to people. Uh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So for people watching, Sabian Symbols was a book written, I can't remember who wrote it.
Well, actually, so it's a set of all right. Astrological degree symbols are oldest time, in my opinion. We've got a lot of different sets, and the one of the younger sets is 100 years old, and it was kind of clairvoyantly received in 1925 by Mark Edmund Jones, astrologer, and Elsie Wheeler, clairvoyant. And so they sat in a car in San Diego, Balboa Park, for one day, and they teamed up with the Sabian Assembly Brotherhood, like psychically from way back, and kind of had this sort of this kind of whatever ritual coning or whatever you want to call it, and just downloaded each degree. So this is an image or a phrase for each degree of our beautiful sacred Circle of Life, Circle of the World, and Circle of the Zodiac. So yeah, the book then came out years later. So it's a set, and then there's of course been a million books written, or not really a million, probably 6 books that have been written that kind of interpret each of these 360 images. Does that kind of land
Yeah,
for
yeah.
what you're, yeah.
Well, so I want to go back to what you were saying about working with the new moons and full moons and like cutting the noise in astrology. So what we call this is noise. So I learned this from the computer programmers of in programming, there's all kinds of data they get, and Jay-Z knows this because he's a computer programmer, but like there's all kinds of data, and then you have to cut all that noise to figure out what's important for the code you're writing. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think astrologers are a lot like computer programmers where we've just got data all over the place, and we actually have to pluck out what is meaningful to the viewer, the student, the listener, or whatever. And what I like about what you're doing is you're basically cutting through all of that noise and you're giving people this very palatable, like anyone can understand the new and full moons. Like even a 7-year-old can understand because you can look up in the sky and be like, the moon's blocked by the sun, or there the moon's really big, or like, I mean, I think so, and I love that the through line concept you're saying where you're like weaving together these cycles, which it gives people something to attach to and something to get really like maybe if you're more advanced, you watch the more micro transits, but like with this is for even the beginner to really start watching transits essentially. I mean,
Really, I mean, I just love what you're saying about noise, and I think that yes, that's just so beautiful, and I even relax just hearing you describe it. I'm like, oh yeah, there. But yeah, it's so democratic, and I feel like also, I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me that we can get really frontal lobe about a lot of things. And I'm more interested in what happens in the embodied lived experience and also what comes through the back door of consciousness, through the back door of symbolism, psyche, archetypes, the language of story and symbol. I feel like we learn and we register things in a very different way when it comes through that other door.
so I want to clarify the name Dream Fruit. So for people listening, Elizabeth's North Node is in Pisces, which what some would say that you're here to kind of go towards a more dreamy state, psychically. Whereas like you came in kind of being Virgoic, which you're very, very Virgoic. So it would be having a more like pointy nose even and like a pointy perspective on like this, everything has to be perfect. But what you're kind of learning to do is go into the more dreamland of where things are just beautiful in every single way, and it's kind of like a magical journey you're on. Is that kind of where the name came from?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
exactly right.
And the fruit part is like you're trying to grow dreamy fruit, I guess, with this journey.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like how can like it to me, fruit is very, it's very Virgo. It's that abundant Earth Mother service aspect of Virgo that wants to offer something.
So it's the tangible representation of what came from the dream. It's like it was in this dreamy state, and now it's actually made manifest in reality in the form of fruit.
Yeah. And then too, it's like there's so many ways like you can think about just like the tree of knowledge, like we kind of can catch things differently. I guess what I was saying a second ago, we can catch things differently when they come in through that door. It's just a really different way. And it just, yeah, I think it lands and my hope, and here's the other layer of it. I call it Lunar Tales for Earthlings, or the Lunar Almanac for Earthlings is actually a format that I retired last year, but it is for Earthlings. And the thing about it is that we're aiming to tell a story that is practical, tap into a dream that's already dreaming us. I mean, I'm not really making it up. I'm just listening through a particular lens that, oh, how can this story of now, how can these images, how can this dream guide us back into our like radical belonging with Earth, with cosmos, with this, life. And so that earth energy that Virgo brings for me, really is like, okay, let's just make it like, let's just ground it all. Let's just make it really pragmatic. Because if we can all just wake up and fall in love again with earth and with ourselves as earthlings, truly, that's the assignment. To me, that's the assignment.
Right, that is so trippy. Like I'm a Pisces moon and I'm just like, yeah, let's float above Earth on circusy videos where nothing is real. And like, but you're actually bringing me back to like, whoa, Virgo can be magical too. Like you're just like Earth magic, right? Like the magic of actually being down here. Okay, that's cool.
Nice.
Okay, well, so shine some of your Virgo magic upon us. Can we see one of these journals? Like, do you have one with you?
I do. Let me see. Hold on. I always hide my face, so I never know what you're seeing. Okay. So yeah, now, as I mentioned, I used to do a lunar almanac every year, and I did that for 5 years. And last year, when I sat down to enter all the lunar data into the calendar, I just got like this big push, like, no, I got shoved away from my keyboard by some unseen force. And so I retired the lunar almanac for earthlings and
I get
created,
easily dissuaded. Just
well,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
as if
It was obviously a message, but I'm just saying,
it's
wow,
obviously,
what? Only one push, huh?
I mean, but only one push. I had been kind of incubating the idea, and I will say it. I mean, the task of some people maybe know this. The task of entering lunar data for a year is not a small thing. So no, you're right. I was like, okay, no.
You're like, thanks for that. I've been trying to get out of this for a while.
How do I get out?
Her cat came across her keyboard and was like,
Someone
no.
swung the cat and okay.
That's right. That's totally how it rolled. So now I have created an undated journal magic for Earthlings. This is my personal copy, so it's a little bit messy, but let's see. So it's basically a guided moon journal. But I am really interested in journal magic. I mean, I mentioned that Uranus is sort of like conjunct my sun, but it's an out of sign conjunction. And so it's hanging out in Libra. So I've got this whole why am I telling you about my Libra stuff? Oh, Mercury and Libra, Jupiter. And so my interest in journal magic is also sixth house. But so how do we make how do we make magic with language?
Oh my God.
And
Wait a second
by
before you continue. I want to speak to journal magic. Okay. So one of the things that happened when I got sober was I learned journaling. And it's like crazy because it's like opened up. I just have to like attest to journaling. So like here had this like my personal journal, and this one's all like addiction focused, like blah blah blah. So this like kept me in the addiction realm of whatever. But then, okay, here's the 365 miracles for the Course in Miracles, the daily journal. And so it's like then I was writing about miracles. Then here's one with God, all things are possible. So here's like this one takes me into the God realm. Then there's a fuck it journal, which is like, so I just have to tell you that like journaling is amazing because what is in your journal is what you're exposing of yourself to yourself. Like it's, so I just wanted to attest to journal magic as like, if you're trying to make a magical being of yourself, like a journaling journey would help you.
preach. I love that. I love all of your
Dude, and I have like 30 journals that are just blank, like whatever, but I think I can't attest more. I mean, there's two things in my life that have made me more interesting to myself. One is astrology and one is journaling. And so I just, before you went on to what you show your journal, I just wanted everyone to like really think maybe they should take up journaling. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And it's for me also, it's just like how to have something be experiential, interactive, like how to really keep things alive. I'm very tactile. And so it's really nice to be able to engage physically and like have it be like the mental and physical, like body mind connection. And then to have it be a lunar journey, and so I don't know how to even, I'm not going to show you the whole journal because it's too much to walk through. I'll show you some of my crazy pages. How about that?
Well, we want to
So
see as much of it as you have patience to show us, because I remember you were showing me at Norwalk a lot of it, and it really helped me to understand what your journal experience, what the person's journal experience would be like. But anyway, I'm not.
yeah, well, here I'm going to try to first, maybe I should just start with a blank so you can see. So it basically, Journal Magic has 13 lunar sections. And, I've been following the moon since I was hatched. And I feel like to create a space for people to relate to the lunar cycle in a very easy, but also, like play to your level, you can get really deep working with the moon. And so you really can like start, I have like this opening and closing ritual that taps you into your own vibe for this lunar cycle. So right away you're tracking like, oh, is the moon new? Like you were saying, like anybody can check that, like we can see, or
Mhm.
actually we can't see when it's new, but it's like, oh yeah, there's something, a new cycle is starting. And so, oh, let's tune in. But also I want us to relate. I want to invite people to relate to the moon as an entity, as a presence, as a beloved,
Mm.
as an ally. It's the grandmother, that's been bearing witness to humanity since we ever existed, in fact making our existence possible. And so we really start with honoring the moon, an opening ritual to greet her, say hello, and that changes every time. Anyway, I don't know.
So with this
So
journal, like someone's like you're kind of like weaving someone's attention up to the moon and up and down. So that's so cool. Okay.
I love how you said that. That's totally right. And then I also really feel like you need open space too. So we've got notes from the field. And, I have a game where I'm like, what's your guiding question for this moon? And also, who's your ally or what is your ally? I'm very animistic in the sensibility here. So that ally might be your favorite pen, or it might be, your puppy or the tree outside your door, but having an ally, having a guiding question, and then having something that is really, your dream seed. And I don't like to use the language of intention, because I really don't want to be all extractive about things. And a lot of times that language of intention can get there pretty easily. So I'm like, well, what are you dreaming of? And how do you water that? And how do you seed it? And so this is where we get into the moon wheel. Every month you kind of get this, you have an opportunity to plant something in the center of this lunar cycle, and it can bloom into, then here we have these spokes for each day as the moon grows to full. So we're going new to full, and then, and then it into waning and dark. And so it grows this way, but also each day can feed into what you're intending, what you're dreaming.
Wait, okay, so I had to say something. Jay-Z, okay, Jay-Z is like a mad manifester and he does keep a journal. It's a manifestation journal. So how is your journal doing?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, how's your journal doing?
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I write in my journal every single morning and I write 3 pages, one of like my affirmations, the other of my decrees, and then the other is a like fake script of like a fake journal entry from the end of the day of how the day went exactly.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, Jay-Z, so in our class Monday in Portland, we taught the moon cycles, and one of our students was talking about how every moon cycle is a manifestation cycle. Now I said you're not, I know Elizabeth, you said you're not into the manifestation language, but
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, no, no. Sorry, Andy. You're just getting me excited.
Well, I was just thinking, like, as a manifester, like having this moon journal, it gets you into the 1 month. There's the new moon, which is like where you plant the seeds, and then every day you're working on that manifestation for the month. Like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, that is so awesome. And so I had that one journal that I'm saying that I do every single day. I do it as soon as I wake up before I start the rest of my day. And I do it, it's on typing into my computer. And then I have another journal. Mine are just these composition books. Like I have a whole series of them. But in which like yeah, I have like every day I'll like write like the notes for the day or things I'm thinking of during that day, or like I was on this weird dietary program that I was like writing down all the things I ate and calories and stuff. And then also like things that are phrases that I'm thinking of, like this day happened to be predestined, predisposed, not predestined, right? But if I had that in a framework tied together with what I was really trying to manifest in that lunar cycle, it would kind of pull everything together into this. Not only was like what happened to be happening, but more like what I was, the mind space that I was in for that month. And
Yeah.
I do think it would be super valuable.
Yeah, sorry, we're being long-winded, but there's been a whole manifestation series on this at this school, and it's like I just want to say, astrology was ancient manifestation theory, and if you take one moon cycle and you're manifesting every moon cycle, you become a mega manifester. Which, okay, so all right, sorry, Elizabeth. Okay,
Yeah.
No, I'm here for it. It's so good. And also, I mean, we should mention Jan Spiller's work because I kind of set this up so people who do Jan Spiller's new moon astrology, they can make their wishes on this one on one side there. Uh-huh. So you can do your moon wishes. It says right here, make a wish and gather signs. And so you're in a call and response, right? It's not just make the wish, then you're listening. And maybe that's what people, I mean, everybody's going to use this differently. But anyway, so I want to mention her too. But yeah, and then I broke it down into moon weeks, the quarters. And so, and what I do, and I'll show you this. Oh, well, no, I'm not yet. And then so you can work with the moon wheel this way. And also then we break it down moon week by moon week. So we have begin, nourish, express, and release. So you can really get quite specific. And the columns are nice because you can, kind of name stuff. Everybody's going to be different with it. You can either break it down into individual days or you can just do more general. I'll show you mine as an example. And then there's closing ritual to really say thank you. You always want to say thank you after a cycle closes. But here's an example. This is like minor, total cray cray. But what you can do is you can like put your intention in the center. I talk about journal magic. And so I do a lot of like sigil work and layering and language and spelling. And then images. And I'll stack like 3 different things under this, center dream seed area. And then, I'll either be tracking like card of the day, or I do, like I said, Sabian symbols, or I've done, gosh, the examples are, I've just been all over the map with this, but I've worked with elements, like as the moon moves through the different elements to really track that. But then I'll do a reading at the beginning of each cycle, and so I'll just kind of grab a card for each of these moon weeks and one for the center that usually ends up buried under all that.
wait, are those stickers of tarot cards or what is that?
I take them to my printer and I shrink them down and
Well, you're like a real journal. You're like a scrapbooker.
it's really, this is where the Virgo comes in, but then I can move them over. Then I can print them again and, and name at the top, like, okay, here's my card. Here's what I'm up to. These are my notes from the field. This is my keyword for this moon week, like that.
So jealous of your journal.
Yeah, yeah. It's real arts and craftsy too. I love that. Of
I know
like
this one
being
was
able
really
to, like,
fun.
assemble things like you were saying, scrapbooky.
Yeah.
It
That's
is
so
real
awesome.
scrapbooky, and it's because I'm just super tactile. It's like my way of making time something I can get my hands on instead of feeling like I'm at the mercy of it and just kind of awash in it, or it's dominating me. Like if I can get my hands on time a little bit, it really helps. So I want to share, okay, one more thing about it. So I'm showing you this one because this is the one that we're in right now. This is the lunar cycle that we just started. And this is how they relate. So I mentioned the lunar tales for Earthlings, which is the kind of Sabian symbol inspired story, moon by moon, for each year. And so we are currently in, like, the moon was new in 3 degrees Leo. So that's a woman having her hair bobbed. I have this friend who makes these sweet illustrations every year for the book. And so the theme is daring for this cycle. And so when you you can play, I'm just saying, you can play alone or together, right? Journal magic is fun by itself, and Lunar Tales is fun by itself. And they also team up. So this is like a mini journal because I need all the places that I can write and note and be. So here we are inside the Daring Moon. And there's the dream that kind of tells the story of the moment, which is really, oh, what is it? Make the sign of liberated kinship, is kind of the suggestion. And then there's a journal prompt for the month and a few like serving suggestions or specific notes, like more explanatory for the themes. But in the back are these pull out cards. And so that's what you can pull out and stick in the journal. Okay, that's like the tour of what goes on in here.
I love how you're both the creator and the consumer of your works. That is amazing.
So,
Yeah.
so the whole journal is kind of a place where you can go month by month with your manifestation and then writing. It's kind of similar throughout, kind of thing. Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yep. Each lunar section repeats. And so you can dip in and out depending on what you're up to.
My God. Okay, so how do we get one of these? Do we want, JC, don't we kind of want one of these? Okay. We do everything
Absolutely.
together. Okay.
Yeah, that is amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, how do you get them?
Yeah, how do we get one?
Oh, on my website, DreamFruit.World.
Okay, DreamFruit.World. Okay. You're like bigger than the .com. You're like a .world. Okay.
Yeah, I know it. And my other website is ElizabethRussell.Space.
Oh my God. World and space.
Sad. You need lots of space.
Okay, cool. So previously you would do like a very specific lunar journal for the year with like new moons and full moons but now it's just kind of this general like getting people into finding that information themselves and doing their manifestations.
Yeah, I mean, the Lunar Tales has the new and full moon data in it. And then there's like a sticker sheet that has let's see. So like the sticker will include, for each moon, will have like the quarters on it and the sign that it's in. This is our full moon Sabian symbol, by the way, I can't remember the exact thing, but it's a watchdog. So I'm kind of looking for I'm looking for a whistleblower like this month, like sometime around our full moon. I think we're going to have some watchdogs and whistleblowers showing up in the general world on the world stage. But yeah, so you can get a little bit more granular with the stickers, but yeah, I really would love to keep the almanac going. I loved it, and it was well loved by everybody who was playing with it for all those years. I miss it, but
well, maybe a breath of wind will push you back to your computer, and
maybe it will.
That's all it will take. A flying cat will push you. Well, okay, so I have to ask you, now you also own a publishing company, right?
Well, I mean, if you want to self-publish a book, yeah. I mean, I founded the Earth Dragon Press when I was self-publishing DreamFruit in 2019. And since then, I have had the privilege of publishing someone we both know is.
Oh yeah, Melanie Gurley. So let's talk about that. So you published her book? Or
Yeah, her Venus retrograde, which is a playbook for a Venus retrograde cycle. And so she's got a wonderful, again, I love the interactive. So if I can make a book that invites people to, play, and she did great with that. And so it's a very interactive book. And I was very honored to help her produce that. And then also kind of by a fluke, I became Blaine Bovey's publisher. I republished his book on Sabian symbols. And I reached out to him because I realized that there are just not enough books on Sabian symbols, and the few that exist are really hard to get. They're kind of not they are rare. And if I like Linda Hill's book, I mean, you can get it, but you have to pay $60 in shipping or whatever it is to get it from Australia. And, we can get the Dane Rudhyar book, but there just aren't that many. And Blaine Bovey's book had fallen out of print, and it's the Sabian symbols brought to life. And so I reached out to him and I said, look, this is really just a friendly proposal to keep a good book in print. We all need this book. He's doing something a little bit different from a lot of the other, kind of reference books for Sabian symbols, because he takes more of a poetic or literary or philosophical approach. He lets them talk to each other, the polarities. So he'll kind of bring the two opposing symbols into dialogue with each other. And it's really interesting. So he agreed. And so I've got his book on offer through Earth Dragon Press. And then I self-published like these two books. And I also do an Earthling 101, which is a course book. It's not released to the general public at this time. It's only for course participants, which is an enchanted, what is it called? Earthling 101, Enchanted Pathways to Radical Belonging. And someday that'll probably come out for the public. But anyway, so that's the Earth Dragon Press reality. It's not, I'm not really pulling up my publisher socks and, trying to build an empire on that. It's a lot, too. It's a lot to produce a book.
Dude, when people are like, make me a book, I'm like, yeah, make your own book. Like, it's a labor of hate. No, I'm just kidding.
It is a labor. It is a labor.
You never hear that phrase for some reason. No, but no. I mean, that's the thing is like I think you have a similar kind of thing going that the Moira Press does, which is if something needs to exist and we don't have time or space to wait for a publisher to allow that to happen, that we will go ahead and make it, So it sounds like, you see some good use in certain projects, and so you say, okay, I'll go ahead and make this book, and like, but that you're not necessarily out there being like, I'm a publisher, come bring your book to me. Like you're not really that guy,
Accurate.
Okay.
Accurate. Yeah. And I wish I was. I do. I really do. But that's that's what I keep saying about my moon, Mars, and Sag. It's like, no, just no.
It's trying to rock and roll, but then it realizes a book is like anti-rock. Making a book is like anti-rock and roll.
It pretty much is.
Oh my God, I'm a bookmaker hater. Okay, no, it's just such a weird labor. It takes we had books that were in the process for 15 years. I mean, and then like 13 computers later, it's like, where's that book? And like, anyway, I won't go into it. But sorry, Jay-Z, do you have any questions built up in your arsenal over there?
Okay, well, I'm still a little confused about what is Dreamfruit the name of?
It's a series. So it's the Dreamfruit Lunar Tales for Earthlings. It's the Dreamfruit Journal Magic for Earthlings. It's the Dreamfruit Earthling 101 Enchanted Pathways to Radical Belonging. So it's an umbrella sort of world that holds all of these things. And also when you enter the stories of the lunar tales, I call that the Dreamfruit world as well, because inside the world of dream, it's lunar punk. It's magic and weird. And so when I guide like visualizations into that landscape or dreamscape. And so I say, okay, we're going to pass through the gate into the Dreamfruit world. So it's like a space. Does that make sense?
Well, to me, it sounds like a production company. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when we talked at Norwalk, you also talked about holding classes for your Dreamfruit journals and products, I guess you'd call them, experiences. But you've had classes where people have centered around the book, and it's like kind of produce things and events and things and stuff, right? I mean, I guess you're the creator of the world of Dreamfruit, but you're the demiurge of the world. Sorry.
Yeah, like I think if it's like, what's the world of D&D?
It's true.
That's how I think of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like lost in your own world, but
I
you're
am
found
totally.
in your own world.
And there's, and there's rules inside of these worlds, right? There's certain things that happen. You know that that tree is going to talk to you if you ask, that we're all traveling together. It is lunar punk. It's not just one hero trying to save everything. You know that there's a frame story, and inside the frame story of Dream Fruit, inside this world, we know a few things. I'll tell you this part. The living earth has been imperiled and our creative nature is rising up. And in this world where the living earth has been imperiled and our creative nature is rising up, we're traveling together. We're all earthlings in training, and we're all on a mission, and we're on a mission to return to radical belonging. And we do this moon by moon, stitching these dreams together. So it is kind of held inside of this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also reminding me of like kind of like the world of the Lord of the Rings, right? There's like a like you're saying, there's like a paradigm that exists within it. Like you're gonna run into these kind of creatures and those kind of creatures. Here's how they interact. Here's how the world kind of like works. And to me, it's like here's like kind of like how God works in this world, or the rules of this universe, or like the magic of this world works in a certain way. And you tap into that mind space, and then you kind of journal with your human earthling body, like projecting into your earthling persona in that world and mesh the two together.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
So do you
6 years later, finally.
that was a set of transits there. Okay, so do you have an example of somebody who has used your journal and what happened in their life because of it?
I mean, the general feedback that I get is that people are getting a deeper relatedness and a deeper ease around time, natural cycles of time. Like they're getting a little bit more of an embodied autonomy around time rather than like, or, like that. Also, people are feeling a lot more just connected with the living world, and just tuned in that way. Like, oh, like somebody the other day was like, yeah, and I was just walking. Oh no, it was in our, we have a Dream Fruit Travelers Facebook group, and she was like, oh yeah, I know I've been in Dream Fruit when I sit down next to a tree and I greet it before I greet the person on the bench. So like that kind of shows up for people, that sense of allyship beyond the human world. And yeah, so, and that's what I know. And then other people are really into tracking the synchronicities, because it does hit that other part of consciousness. The synchronicity piece can really show up for folks, and so they'll report back on those kinds of things. I mean, it's been some years, and so it's like different ways it shows up, but I mean, the hope is that people are feeling way more connected. That's the whole point.
Well, and are they manifesting more? Are they becoming more powerful as makers of their universe because of these like intentions they set every month?
I don't know. I would love to know.
Okay.
I mean, I feel it for myself, but I've been doing lunar work for so long. But I think that now that the journal, I mean, one thing that happened with the lunar almanac when it first came out is that it was, I think of it, it was like a Swiss Army knife. I was just like, do everything. Teach people about radical belonging, be my manifesto, trace the moon through all of the everythings, help people track that too for themselves, tap the deep imagination and awaken that deeper story, and and be an interactive almanac for earthling, like and so then I'm like, and then I release it into the world. I'm like, play to your level. And so people have been using it for a lot of different reasons over the years. And so now this year is really the first year it's been unpacked. And so like, oh, here's the lunar tales, tell the story, tune into the story. Oh, here's the journal magic, follow the moon. You have a personal moon book now. And so I think that it will help people focus a little bit more on like specifically what they're doing inside of each book. And so maybe we'll hear more stories about manifesting and what the cycles are doing for folks.
Yeah, you're really inspiring me, or hopefully us here, to think about manifesting with the moon, because it's funny because it's like, I mean, Juicy, can you believe that all this time we've been doing this and we're astrologers and we haven't ever thought we should just do new moon intentions and then, just do new moon intentions? Like, because that's manifesting once a month for the duration of the year, which, and it helps you like revisit your manifestations. Like, okay, I got this done in this month, and now what am I? It's like it kind of sets that. So that's cool.
Yeah, and that closing ritual, I just want to say this because the thing, again, my hang up about manifestation isn't because I don't like to manifest and whatever, but it is that, Gen Xer, grew up inside of like, and kind of came of age in this moment when the spiritual landscape was very extractive and new agey. And so in Dream Fruit, the journal magic book, at the end of each section, at the end of each lunar cycle, is a closing ritual that's really about saying thank you and receiving and giving back and like acknowledging the relatedness that allows the manifesting to happen. The manifesting arises because we're in relationship, we're in cooperation with something more than us. So yeah, I just wanted to put that on there as a punctuation mark. It's got kind of the opening and closing
It's
parentheses.
amazing, like to have gratitude for the moon, and like it's like yeah, because like gratitude for the universe or God or whatever it is, it's like that's such an important part of prayer, even, is to say thank you, to not just ask for things, but to also thank the universe for what you do have. And so I think that's really beautiful.
Mm.
Um, well,
Wait, I have a question. What does the word extractive mean?
I mean, it's like we just pull out and pull out and pull out whatever it is that we want. Just like these like we're extracting minerals from
Oh,
the ground, we're extracting meaning from, stones, we're extract like pull. And so it becomes very transactional instead of related. Like, oh, like when my beloved walks through the door, I don't think, oh, well, sometimes maybe I do. Like, what can he do for me? But I worked at a rock shop years and years ago, and it was one of those moments where it was like, first of all, working in a rock shop for a Virgo is and it's super fun, and like all the stones, and it's amazing. And my dreams were anyway, but people would walk in and they would just be like, they would hold up a rock and they'd be like, what's this one do? And they'd hold up another one, they'd be like, what's this one do? And it's like, whoa, okay, I will offer one answer to every single rock that you hold up. This rock will remind you that the world is incredible and filled with wonder and treasures beyond what we can possibly imagine. Rather than extracting meaning, we can, enter into wonder and relationship. So that's the extractive. I don't know if that answers
we're
your question.
extracting an episode from Elizabeth Russell right now.
yeah, we are.
It's relatedness.
Also, what's in it for me?
Well, yeah, it's like extracting your cup of coffee from a bunch of beans. Um, well, okay, I had to ask Elizabeth, are you teaching classes right now?
I'm getting ready. I mean, I will in the fall. I'll be teaching Earthling 101, which is an 8-week kind of a deep dive into these sort of pathways toward radical belonging that are alive inside of Dream Fruit. And then I do, right now, this year, I started doing monthly YouTubes where I tell the story of the month and kind of unpack it a little bit, unpack the Sabian symbol a little bit. So I've been doing more teaching like that, more storytelling and kind of musing. And so that's it. I really cut way back. I mean, I lost my mom about a year and a half ago. Gosh, is that I don't even know anymore. But it really changed a lot of how I manage my energy. And so I'm still kind of rebuilding some of my things and figuring out what works and for me, with this new landscape.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering how people can join the Dream Fruit world and like the community there. Like, how could they become part of it, you know?
Yeah, well, there is a Dream Fruit Travelers Facebook group of other folks who are kind of, tapped in and following the story. And then, as I mentioned, there is the YouTube, um, monthly video. And I also make a monthly soundtrack, which is super fun for me. I know it's Spotify, so not everybody is going to love that, but it's a great tool. And I like having I like putting on the soundtrack, opening my journal for the month and like listening to the music and reading from the lunar tales and kind of getting the vibe. And then just like having my, washi tape and markers and stickers and, having my little Virgo moment. And yeah, and so those are probably the ways that are a little bit more passive. My newsletter sends out those things, but you can also, I think, just get them on the YouTube page. Um, and yeah, we used to get together every month and, do these really deep, kind of magical and imagical journeys. And I really have cut back. So I don't know about how deep we can go at this point. And I'm curious to see what next year brings for that. But anyway, short answer, my newsletter and probably YouTube would be the easiest way. And then of course, DreamFruit.World will get you the book. I still have a few copies of this year's Lunar Tales, for folks who want to jump in and kind of get that going. But then Journal Magic is there anytime. Yeah.
I want to ask the tacky question of how much is Journal Magic?
It's 45.
45. Okay.
Yeah. It's printed here in Eugene, Oregon. It's definitely a beautiful, beautiful book. It's got heavy paper and da 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 da. You've seen it, so
Yeah, books are worth it. Sorry.
Mm.
And what about tickets to the cosplay party where we dress as characters from the months?
Totally.
Wait, is that real? You're making
No.
it up.
Back in the day, though, when I had my B Space studio in Portland, we did have a really fun. We had like the Blue Dragon Ball, and we got to all come with our wings and our horns and our special, yes, and we definitely had that very party.
Oh, nice.
Yes, maybe again that will happen.
Who knows?
Well, this is awesome. Really, what a cool world to have. I mean, it's really been interesting to interview different people every week because you really just see all these different worlds, and your world is super, like, there's a lot going on in this world, and it's a really cool place to be. So, in the last few minutes here, is there anything else you want people to know, or about your world, or what you're doing, or how to find you, or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I think that I'm not going to do a self-promotion piece here. This would be the moment where I'd be like, hey, you can find me. I mean, you can find me for sure. And I would love to connect. I am a real person operating my own little world to the best of my ability and having a good time doing it. And I mean, I'll just say, honestly, like, jump on my newsletter and we can be in touch. But mostly, like, I just want people to feel, like the earth is calling to them and that they can answer that call and like show up in relationship, and hopefully Dream Fruit helps with that. But there's a lot of ways to that. And I want us to all find our own paths, and hopefully this one is useful to folks. How about that? That is a Virgo moment. That is how it rolls being a Virgo.
That's what I was just thinking. Well, wait, do you read charts?
I do.
Okay,
I
so
read charts and cards. I do it together. I also do like a whole lot of fairy tale. I did like a narrative psychology fairy tale thing last year. And so now I weave a lot of, yeah, it's all storytelling, with cards and charts.
All right, so it's DreamFruit.World.
DreamFruit.World and ElizabethRussell.Space if you want to see the whole picture.
DreamFruit.World, ElizabethRussell.Space. All right, JC, do you have any last inquiries or statements?
No, I think I'm done. This is great. Really great to meet you, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You too. It's been super fun talking to you both. I've really had fun. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, you guys, get your journal on. You know you need a journal, and Russell is your person. DreamFruit.World. Find the moon world for yourself. All right, well, have a good day, everyone. All right, thank you.
Thanks.